I want to share with you one of the biggest mistakes we've ever done, which is a mistake that I would do over and over again. My family, my husband and I had our midlife crisis. Some of you are too young to understand, but you'll get there, I promise. And everyone deals with their crisis differently. We decided to leave our careers, leave our homes, leave the school that we founded, and travel the world for 3.5 years. And in doing so, we met many people from many cultures, and one of the ways that we allowed ourselves to afford this travel was I volunteered to teach in different institutions around the world. I taught English. Surprise, right? So I taught in Cambodia, I taught in Costa Rica, I taught in Panama. We taught around the world English, and it was wonderful to meet the children on different islands and different communities, and for them to meet an English speaker was a pretty big deal. And one of the biggest mistakes that we had done is we assumed, as many of us do, that L1 will always help us in learning L2. Well, sometimes it doesn't. We were in a farm in Costa Rica, and my husband and I are overconfident about our abilities in speaking Spanish, way overconfident. And one of the farmers from the nearby farm came by and said, "¿Dónde está Sulema?" Okay, where is Sulema? Now, we speak Hebrew, so Sulam, like in Arabic, Sulim, what is? A ladder. Sulam, a ladder. So my husband thought that she was referring to where is the ladder. So he tells her very confidently in Spanish, "Oh, the ladder. I used it yesterday and I left it under the tree in the rain by the river. You can go use it too. It's under the tree." Okay, sounds good. The problem is, you know what Sulema is? It's the name of the dueña, the owner of the property we were staying at. Think a second. I used her last night and left her under the tree. You can go use her too. Terrible mistake. So we always assume that L1 will help us with L2. Sometimes it becomes a burden. And it's important for me to say that because we all make these mistakes. The topic of today is, what is the mother of all mother tongues? We're in a multilingual environment. We want to teach English to students that come from different cultures, but we need to understand what is the root, what is the mother tongue. Each of us comes from a different mother tongue. Each of us comes from a different culture. And we want to understand individually what mother tongue is, but the commonality in mother tongue is where I feel at home. It's where I feel safe. Ideally, we hope all of our children at home feel safe. This is where I belong. These are my teddy bears, this is my bed, this is the food we speak, this is my local culture. We want our mother tongue to be the place where I feel the safest. For me, it's different maybe for you. Mother tongue for me means I have cats around, or I have a puzzle, or I have a really good book. Mother tongue for someone else might be that there's good music, or there's grandmother's food cooking nearby. One of the things we want to do, I'm going to give you 9 different tips. Actual applicable tips, not just academia. I'll give you 9 tips that you can use in your classroom. I'd like to know at the end of the lecture who can tell me all 9 of them. Tip number 1, survey your students. What is your favorite food? What's your favorite color? Do you have a pet at home? Do you like being the center of attention? Would that compliment you if I say, "Christine is here, wonderful"? Or maybe that'll embarrass her. Let's find out what each child, what's their mother tongue, what's their comfort, so I can relate to that child. If I know that Fadi's favorite color is blue, and I'm dividing the kids into 4 groups, I might say, "Fadi, you go to the blue group, wink." And he says, "Hey, my teacher knows. My teacher knows that this is my favorite color." Why do we want this? Because before I can teach something to someone, a child isn't a container waiting for me to fill it. A child is the whole world. What does Rumi say? You're not a drop in the ocean. You're the whole ocean in a drop. I want to show that child that I see him. So I want to connect to him in his mother tongue. So it's important that I take the time to know my children and to see what they need. Tip number 2, in psychology, very basic psychology, behavioral psychology. What is the person's favorite word? Their name. That's my mother tongue. I feel safest if you say, "Gabi, Gabi, Gabi." It says, "You see me." Namaste. What is namaste? Namaste means I see you. I see you. The highest version in me recognizes and blesses the highest version in you. How beautiful is namaste? I see your soul. So if you see me, that's tip number 2. Use the children's names. But be very careful, I have to tell you. I spent 20 years as a family therapist and a life coach and a family coach. And I teach parents. Notice how you use the child's name. Usually it's Fanny, get off the computer. Christine, go to bed. I told you, John, to stop that. So if we use the children in a negative manner, the association will be, their name means I'm in trouble. I've done something wrong. So as educators, we want to use their favorite name, but change the association. So when my kids were young, I used to say, Danya, what, Mom? I love you. Oh, okay. You're not demanding anything of me, okay? I could say, John, thank you for coming. Sarah, beautiful shirt. I want to change the association as an educator. Typically, when kids hear their name in class, it means they're in trouble. Okay? Let's use psychology. Their favorite name, I can connect to you, I trust you, but you're using it in a way that shows the child that I care. So those are the first two tips. It's important for us to understand what is home. When I was the executive director of a nonprofit organization in Houston, Texas, our job was to help the low-income Latino families get a higher socioeconomic ranking. We wanted to give them tools. But what was the problem? What happens with all immigrants around the world? The first generation doesn't get such a good deal. The first generation doesn't understand the mother tongue, they get low-paid jobs, and we have a problem. The children become privy to information that children shouldn't be privy to. So I'll take my child to the doctor's appointment, I'll take my child to the lawyer, I'll take my child to an adult conversation so he can translate for me, but suddenly I've taken the balance away from the parent. I'm no longer the parenting authority, I'm no longer the parenting leader, because I'm dependent on my 10-year-old kid to understand how to function in this new world. Why do parents become immigrants? Because they want to give the world to their children. Their children will be raised and grow up in a new society with a new mother tongue, and they will have the advantage that their parents did not. So one of the things that we did in the nonprofit organization, we created parenting courses. Okay, I come with a master's in psychology. Gabi, make a parenting course for Latino families so they'll learn how to be empowered to be leaders even if they are at a cultural disadvantage. Another thing we found is they don't have the skills to get higher paid jobs. So we created computer programs. This is before internet. This is right at the start of internet. Does it tell you how old I am? We started creating computer labs and teaching them English. How can I get an advantage in a country that's not my own when I don't speak the mother tongue? But this is what's important. How did we know what their mother tongue was? Mother tongue also means, what do I most need? What do I most connect to? They need food. They need money to pay the bills, okay? And what is their mother tongue? What is their comfort? The church. We opened the computer labs and the parenting classes and the English classes inside of the church. How much more mother tongue can I be? How much more at home can I feel than when I enter your religious institution with all the reverence that I have and say, I'm here to help you better your life? It's important, welcome ladies, it's very important to always remember, I need to take a reference, what is the mother tongue? It's not just the language, it's not just the culture, it's also what makes the person feel at home. Therefore, tip number 3, it would be very wise for us to always have a conversation, if we can, with the parents. You know this child much better than I do. What can you tell me that will help me connect to the child? What tool can you give me? What tips can you give me that strengthen the child's relationship to be open to learning? We're looking at how to create an optimal learner. I cannot create an optimal learner if I don't understand the resistance the child might have to learning. Okay? For some children, if I put a hand on their shoulder, depends on the rules you have in your country. If I put a hand on my shoulder and say, hey, Gabi, that's a really great job, that could be a really wonderful way to encourage me. Some other child, that made them very uncomfortable. So it's very important to understand the mother tongue. Another thing about mother tongue is a quote from Anton de Saint-Exupéry, the beautiful adventurer that went through 1,000 adventures in his private life and wrote The Little Prince. What does he say? He says, perhaps love is the process of me leading you gently back to yourself. Think how beautiful that is. Perhaps love is the process of me leading you gently back to yourself. And then Leo Buscaglia, love him, please read his books, Living, Loving, and Learning. He romanticizes about what is education. And he says, perhaps education is the process of me leading you gently back to yourself. Think how powerful, it always gives me goosebumps, how powerful the idea is, I'm not the wise teacher and I will give you because you know nothing. I want to meet you where you are and help you relate to yourself. Okay? It's very important now that we're going back to the mother tongue. Another reference I want to make is this. Leo Buscaglia says, instead of teaching children the multiplication table and science and history and facts and all the facts that he knew, do you know any people in the world that are successful because they got an A on a test? Do you know any people in the world that got what they wanted because they can tell you the capitals, all the world capitals? No. But the process of learning, the process of education is what makes people successful. I'd like to say the mother tongue, what we want to do before we teach our children knowledge, we want to teach them how to have a passion for lifelong learning. We want them to be autonomous learners. We want them to be curious. We want them to believe that no matter what challenge is in front of me, I can overcome it. Think about the life skills we're learning. We want children to be resilient. Fall down, you get up. You fall down, you get up. Because that's what you need. I believe that the strongest thing we want to do is prepare our children, hi ladies, prepare our children for the unexpected, disappointing, challenging, insane chaos called life. Life will not go the way I want it to. Life will not do what I want, not in the timeline that I want, not in the way that I want. And when I exit mom's kitchen, where mom does everything for me and cuts the meat exactly like this and be sure the rice doesn't touch the meat, I'm not helping my child if I do everything for him. I'm helping my child if I teach him, if you want something done, get up and figure out how to do it. That's how I'm teaching my child. So mother tongue also understands that in order to help a child really succeed in life, I need to equip him for life, not for English class or math class or science class. What tools can I give that will equip the child to succeed in life? You've probably heard of the marshmallow test. I love the marshmallow. You have those cute kids with the big chubby cheeks. What did we learn from the marshmallow test? That delayed gratification is possibly the singular, most powerful determiner of success in life. If I want to be healthy and lose weight, and every time I see something sweet, I eat it, that's what I want now. There's a difference between what I want now and what I want. If I can delay gratification, I won't eat the cupcake, and I'll wait and I'll eat broccoli and salmon. If I have delayed gratification, maybe someone said something that made me upset, I'm not going to answer you and disrespect you. I will hold my tongue. I will hold my tongue and be the wiser person here, and then I can continue building this relationship. Delayed gratification means I really want to watch what's on Netflix, but I need to study for my test. Delayed gratification is something that you can use. Here's another tip for your classroom. You tell your students, children, we will play a game, we will have a fun day, we will do something. Let's wait 10 minutes. Let me see how you perform in the next 2 days of class. Show me that you are self-disciplined, and we will have a big fun day. Give the children a sense of control internally. You will determine how much fun we'll have, but let's delay the gratification. Very, very powerful tools. I wanted to tell you about Rumi. I love Rumi, right? We all love Rumi. Persian. Who doesn't? If you don't know Rumi, please look him up. You will fall in love. I told my husband I'm leaving him for a man who died 800 years ago. Seriously. Rumi says, you were born with wings. Why do you prefer to crawl through life? We have greatness inside of us. Our job is also in a chaotic classroom of 30 children. Our job is to try to figure out how to connect to them and find their light. Marianne Williamson wrote a wonderful poem. You referred to Nelson Mandela in your beautiful speech. Marianne Williamson wrote a poem for Nelson Mandela. And she says, it is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us. Who are you to be brilliant, talented, beautiful? And then she says, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. It is your job to manifest the God that is within you. It is in all of us, not just in some of us. Our job as educators is to figure out how to show the children their light. What does that mean? I'm not going to only praise a 95 or an 90. I'm going to praise the process. When I taught parenting classes, one of the most important lessons I ever taught was this. If your child comes up to you and says, Mom, do you like my picture? If the mom says, oh my God, it's beautiful, I love it, let's put it on the fridge, oh, I love this picture. That is a huge parenting mistake. Why? Because something that gave the child intrinsic joy. I had fun painting this picture. I had fun, the process of art. Now I'm waiting for a grade. Will you validate to me my success? Will you judge me and give me a grade? And what happens if we don't figure out, and I'll teach you the next tip how to do this, if we don't figure out how to help children self-assess, self-value, and self-validate, they will spend the rest of their lives in misery seeking external validation. How many likes do I have on Facebook? What car do I drive? How many friends do I have? What other things can you tell me the world that makes me valuable? Okay? The world may not always be kind to all of us. I might not have the highest paying job. I might not have the nicest house. I might not have the most Facebook followers or whatever social media you need. But if I know to love myself, if I say I have self-value, I have self-worth, I don't need something external to tell me, then I have a tool for life always. So when I give my kids, here's your next tip, when I give my kids their homework, when I have a test or something, or when I talk to the parents, I don't want to focus just on the grade. I might say, last time Johnny got an 80, now he got a 95. But then I will continue. I see an enhanced learning process. I see Johnny is investing more time in his learning. And always, when I give Johnny his paper, I don't want to say, 95, you're the best. And what happens to Fuddy if he got a 75? You're not the best. Okay? Everyone does what they can. The most important thing I can do to a child is say, how do you feel about your grade? How do you feel about how you studied? What worked for you in studying, what didn't? Hey, last time you made a 90, this time you made a 70. Are there things you did last time that were more helpful for you? Let's connect to that. There's no shame in education. There's no shame and there's no just the score tells me my value. I want to help a child to connect to himself. Very important tip. Always ask the child, how do you feel about it? I think another very important tip is to always create in your classroom a sense and a place that allows self-assessment. Self-assessment. How do I feel about this? Was this hard for me? Did I particularly like this activity? Okay, I want to give a child a place to reflect upon himself. My children were born in 2002, 2003, 2004. I know, I'm crazy. So 3 years apart. When our eldest daughter was 2 and 10 months old, the youngest was born. It was a madhouse. There was pee and throw up everywhere. Okay. So when our youngest daughter would pet the baby, you know, she's a year and a half and she's a 6-month-old baby, when she would be affectionate to her brother, the most powerful thing I could do is turn around and not look. I want you to love your brother because this is what you want, not because mommy is saying, whoa, you're such a good big sister. I'm so proud of you. Because again, we've taken something that's personal and hers and made it something that I'm seeking to get attention from. Okay, I had another friend who I thought did something genius. She said every time her toddler fell down, she turned around quickly. Why? If I fall down, oh, my baby, are you okay? Oh, come to mommy. Okay, there's zero place for the child to connect to himself. What happens to us as adults? Truth, okay? Truth on your heart. If you fall down, what's the first thing you do? You look around to see if anyone saw me. Truth. Okay? If a child falls down, leave him alone. Let him have a little sphere of self-resistance and dealing with it all by himself. Okay? Let him have a moment to come. And then if he needs, he'll come to you. You say, I saw you fall down and you picked yourself up. That's wonderful. That's resilience. I'm here. I can hug you. I'm here. I can help you. But if I rush in, immediately when the event happens, I have given the kids zero chance to develop the skill to take care of it themselves. Remember, our job is to empower our children. All right, so we're going back to ourselves. I have so many good quotes here. Okay. I wanted to read to you something from, what's your name? Daniel Goleman. Daniel Goleman wrote a book in 1995 called Emotional Intelligence. I strongly recommend you read the book. Emotional intelligence says we should look at where the child is emotionally and help him develop as a human being before we give him intellectual intelligence. Okay? Programs that use the wisdom of emotional intelligence are usually called heart start programs. First, I will connect to the soul, to the language of the child. Then I will connect to how to teach him. I wanted to read you 2 quotes about him because I think they're absolutely fascinating. Daniel Goleman says, people's beliefs about their abilities have a profound effect on those abilities. Ability is not a fixed property. There's huge variability in how you perform. People with high self-efficacy, how I value myself. People with high self-efficacy bounce back from failures. They approach things in terms of how to handle them rather than worrying about what can go wrong. Further, he says, people with well-developed emotional skills are more likely to be content and effective in their lives, mastering habits that foster their own productivity. People who cannot marshal self-control over their emotional lives will fight inner battles that sabotage their ability to focus and have clear thought. What does that mean? I want to teach the children first. How do I focus my energy? How do I express myself? How do I manage emotions? How do I clarify when I need help? How do I create boundaries that are healthy for me? And how do I organize myself? Does a child bring supplies to the classroom? Praise him. Wonderful, I see that you're responsible, you organized your things. We want to help each child develop the skills they need to be eventually a responsible, functioning adult. And before I teach math, science, and history, I want to teach skills to be a student. I want to go on. There's another story which I think is fascinating, that is extremely important, and you're going to get 3 tips at once. When I was doing my master's, I have a master's in behavioral psychology. One of my assignments was to go in the field and research something that fascinated me. And it turns out that in the United States, there are 3 old age homes where the people live 15 to 20 years longer than all the other age homes in the United States. 15 to 20 years longevity in these 3 old age homes. Fascinating. I went to see, I went to visit, I went to see, I went to research. You know, when you do good research, you put your feet on the ground and you get there. And I discovered 3 things that they do at the old age home, and I want to tell you how we can move that into our classroom. We'll have a workshop tomorrow talking more about the classroom and how we can use these skills. Today we're focusing on the self. But listen to the three things I found. Why are the people living 15 to 20 years longer? Insane. First of all, everyone at the old age home had a choice for every meal. No one says, you're eating soup today, you're eating eggs, and you're eating pasta. That's it. There's a menu. Do you want chicken or beef? Do you want pasta or salad? Would you like to eat at 6 o'clock or at the 8 o'clock dinner? People need to have a sense of control. If I feel that everything is decided for me, it makes me weak. Lab rats will die when they feel that they can no longer control their environment. That's why we tell a child, we don't say, what do you want to eat? You say, do you want the blue bowl or the green bowl? Would you like to wear the green skirt or the yellow skirt? Would you like to go and sit in this car with this toy or this toy? I let the child feel a sense of control, but I still choose choices that I feel comfortable with. So as an educator, what does that mean? The most genius thing you can ever do in your classroom, this is the best tip, make a test with, let's say, eight questions, and tell the child, pick any 6 you want. Wow, I chose. The teacher lets me choose. Or if I have 20 questions on the test, I can tell the children, write the 1 through 20 vertically or horizontally, give them a choice. You can write in the black marker or the blue marker. Give them a choice. Would you like to sit with your desk at this angle or this angle? I don't care, but the child feels that I see him. Give the child a sense of control in any way that you can, okay? Number 2, all the people in the old age home had plants. The staff were not allowed to touch the plants. I have to get out of bed and I have to water the plant. I have to open the shade and give the plant sunlight. Otherwise, the plant will die. Everyone had a sense of contribution. I am needed. I am valued. That loses a lot of time. We lose that a lot of times when people become old. We think, oh, they don't understand. Yes, they do. Of course we do. Okay, another thing which was fascinating in the old age home, the place was covered with cats and dogs. And guess who walks the dogs? And guess who feeds the cats? And guess who changes the water for the animals? The staff is not allowed to touch it. So we had people in wheelchairs taking the dog, and we had people petting the cat, and people brushing the dog, and giving them food and water. I am needed, I am valued. That's why if you look it up online, some of the most fascinating programs in the world, they put kindergartens inside of old age homes. Wow! Everyone, both sides who feel a little unseen and uncared for, suddenly find each other. I always get goosebumps. It's so beautiful. Tip number 7 or 8, where are we? Give the children a chance to contribute to the community. Can you please let me know when 10 minutes is left for class? Can you please be sure all the chairs are tucked in? Can you be sure if any of your friends are missing a pencil that you give it to them? It could be a minor role, but I let everyone feel important. This week, these are our 4 role models. Give people a contribution, a role. Also give your kids chores. We talked about that, Peter. And the last thing is a sense of connection. The old people slept with the dogs and cats in their beds. A lot of times when you go into an old age home, people stop touching you and petting you. You no longer have your kids around or your pets or your things, and you have a huge loss of control. So they have a sense of affection. I don't know at your school what the ability is if you're allowed to touch a child and say, I'm proud of you. If you're not, that's okay. Tip number 7 or 8 or 9, talk to the parents. What can help me connect to your child? Maybe it's a piece of candy I can give once in a while. Maybe it's letting the child doodle and it'll help him concentrate. Some classrooms have the bouncy balls because kids have ADHD and I can't sit in a chair and I will go crazy if you make me, so I will bounce the whole time and I won't disturb your class. Figure out what a child needs. We're back to the mother tongue. Figure out what he needs so that he can feel safe and he can feel that he has a sense of connection. Okay? A few more tiny things. Oh, this is interesting. On our staff, we have 3 Arabic speakers. English with Gabi, we're outside, you can meet us later. We have Natalie, Nargis, and Rana. Natalie is Christian. She doesn't like people around bothering her because she can't concentrate. Her sense of control, I'm talking about the language of the self, the first one, 3 C's. Control, contribution, connection. Those are what I just told you. Sorry, I forgot to mention them. She likes a sense of control. Please let me work from home. I work much better when my dog is at my feet and people aren't bothering me. That's what's important to Natalie, our Arabic-speaking Christian. Nargis is Druze. Nargis needs the second C. She needs to feel contribution. She needs me to always tell her, I see you did a great job. I see you talked to 10 customers. 5 people put on their ratings. The customer service was amazing. Nargis, I'm so proud of your work. She needs the second C, control, contribution, connection. Rana is a Bedouin Muslim. Rana is new to our staff, and she always wants to feel connected. So in her status, she's always posting English with Gabi, English with Gabi, English with Gabi. So it's really important for me to do staff meetings, even when I don't need to do them, just so I can let Rana say, I'm with the staff meeting, I'm a part of this, because she needs connection. Again, I'm looking at what does each person need. If you can look in your classroom and see, how do I give the kids a sense of control? How do I give them a sense of contribution? How do I give them a sense of connection? You will improve your ability to reach the children. Another thing that's important about mother tongue is I feel safe there, so I can trust. I need to build a sense of trust. Maybe some of you have seen online, there's these viral videos of the teachers that do all these cool handshakes before the kid enters the classroom, boom, boom, right? I take the time to know you. You like this, this, and this, and you like this, this, and that. Okay, I don't have to touch the child, but I take 30 seconds, 15 seconds to say, I see you. I know how to connect to you. It's a big deal. That's another tip. If you can take a minute from class time and connect to each child. Another thing that really helps, if you have younger children, have them have little pieces of paper and they write their name and they can just draw an emoji. Smiley face, sad face, mad face, whatever it is. And if a child says, I'm mad or I'm sad, it would be really wonderful if when you can talk to mom or talk to the child and say, hey, Sammy, I saw you put a sad face today. Are you okay? Let's take a moment. If they're verbal, let them write every day. You start class, write one sentence summarizes what you're going through right now. One sentence. I can look at it later and connect to them. If they're too young to write, an emoji. Everyone can do an emoji. A little smiley face. All right, last story. Am I running out of time? Oh, okay, kind of. In my class, my first class that I ever had, we fell in love with each other. These kids, when they had to do a project at the other school, what's their hero? Some of them picked me. I cried. I love these kids. So 2 of them I'm still in contact today. The year after, my second year of teaching, I said, oh my God, I love teaching. This is where I'm meant to be. I had the class from hell. I hated them. They hated me. All the parents, it drove me crazy. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be doing it. I don't want to be a teacher. I want the first class. The first class was heaven. The second one, oh God. And in the class, I had a student named Nathan Miller. This is his true name. Nathan Miller was the student you never want in your classroom. This is before the internet. Nathan Miller read every book, every newspaper article, and he knew everything. Any word that came out of my mouth, he had a counter argument. It's like we're in law school. I'm not teaching you to be a lawyer. No, every word that came out of my mouth, he had an opinion. He had to tell me why I was wrong and why I didn't understand. Now this kid is 10, shut up. Let me teach class. No, Nathan Miller knew everything. But at the end of the year, I had a tradition that I made with the first class, remember, because we were in love with each other, that I wrote a handwritten note to each child, telling them what I saw, what was the light I saw in them. So I did the assignment. I'm sitting there, what am I going to write to Nathan, right? I want to kill the kid. By the way, his mom was my friend, which made it much harder, because I couldn't discipline him, right? May was like, oh, but he's such a smart boy. Really? So I write a note to Nathan Miller, telling him about the light I see in him. And it took me a really long time, and I had to tear it a few times. This is before we were typing. And I wrote to him, I think you can be an amazing leader. You know how to formulate opinions. You know how to seek your own knowledge. You have the ability to express yourself disrespectfully, but you know how to express yourself. I just put all the good things I could, okay? I really filtered there. Turns out, not 15, he was 8 when he was in my class. So 10, 11 years later, they moved to another home. He was in college, and the mom had to pack up his room for him. He couldn't come and pack it up. And she says, Gabi, I want to tell you something. Nathan had in his bedroom a bulletin board, a small bulletin board with about 5 or 6 things on it, and your letter was on there for 10 years. Your letter was there, and when I called him, and I asked him, hey Nathan, what can I throw away? He said, don't touch the letter from Gabi. I know, right? He said, don't touch the letter from Gabi. And she said, but you were 8. And he said, Mom, every time I had a hard time, I read the letter and it reminded me how valuable I am. That's what we want to give our kids. I see the light in you, always. I think I'm out of time. Thank you very much. Thank you.